Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach under the sun. Reason why there's no other coach like I am in terms of nobody holds your hand throughout the coaching like I do. Most coaches on the internet coach with emails and text messages. I don't understand how they do it, or Zoom sessions. I coach in audio exchange and phone sessions on an ongoing basis. Most popular packages on my website, the link is below, is the Audio Unlimited package and the Phone Sessions Unlimited Deluxe. Now, let me explain what that entails. In the case of the audio exchange, we begin always with a phone session, which is included in the package, and we get to know each other. I record that session for posterity. I share with you that tape, of course, and with your permission. If you don't like me to record, that's fine. I still take my notes. It just allows me to later take extensive notes. After that, we start coaching with exchanging of audios. You start telling me about your childhood. We go through your childhood, adolescence, college years, what have you. Every single time, your audio needs to be 20-minute max. Otherwise, it becomes overwhelming for me. I go through every single audio you send me more than once. I first listen to it without taking any notes, just to kind of get the gist of what you're saying to me. And then I have a separate notepad for everybody in my coaching, whether that's telephone sessions or audios. And I take extensive notes. It's almost like a transcript of your audio, but not really, not exactly. I just take the most interesting points, but everything is interesting to me, basically. I'm particularly curious in what you're discussing and how you're discussing it, what kinds of words you choose to tell me, how you choose to express yourself, so that I can navigate your belief system, okay? I'm very good at it. I've done it for now over 8 years with different people of YouTube for 7 years, and now on YouTube for a year. Most of the people in my coaching before YouTube have been in entertainment business, so I'm very attuned to people of sensitive nature. However, I ask that you stay within the parameters of my coaching agreement, which you'll have to sign upon booking with me, which you can bombard me. You need to be respectful. You can't rebuttal me. I'm not a psychiatrist, and everything is confidential, of course, unless it becomes a situation where you become a threat to yourself, in which case, I may need to disclose some information that you've shared with me. But that's a very extreme example. I never had to deal with it, but unfortunately, I felt in some cases of YouTube like I had to put that clause in, so that people do not come to my townhouse, quite frankly. So that I can deter the people who want to, invade my privacy. I respect your privacy very much, but you need to respect mine as well. In the case of the phone session, so we talk this way 2 to 3 times per week, by the way, in both packages. In the case of phone sessions, we have a time slot. You need to really have a time slot with me. I am extremely busy, and so we really need to dedicate a time slot to you so that we commit to each other. It's an hour-long session. I record it again. We discuss again your childhood, everything up until now, so that I can help you figure out how to manifest. And I go through that session upon, ending the phone call after that at some point, and take my extensive notes once more, go over everything, and then we'll reconvene at the next session, and I offer you my feedback. I really love this kind of thorough approach, and here's why. Every person is different. It's like a snowflake. Everybody's so different. But unless I know all the intricacies of your personality and what has gone on in your childhood, in your adolescence, your college years, with your parents, with your guardians, your siblings, etc., I do not know how to help you. I do not know the composites of your mind, quite frankly. But once I do, it becomes quite easy to me. All right. So I usually recommend 2 to 3 months in coaching with me. I mean, not to say that some people haven't stayed longer, but I'm talking to fully explore everything that we need to explore. And I ask you to not be impatient with yourself or me. If you're really serious about changing your life, I think you will take your time and you will allow yourself to explore this fully. This is a commitment. I'm not going to just say this is just, you're going to get into my coaching. And some people have gotten into the coaching with me and said, well, offer me all the tricks of the trade. Well, my darling, you're the trick of the trade. So unless I get to know you, I cannot teach you how to do what you need to do. And so it's important. It's really important. I cannot stress this enough. Otherwise, I mean, I'm going to be like one of those idiots on the internet who teaches some manifestation technique, and then the person gets upset it hasn't worked in their case because their history is very different from the other person. Like I said, everybody's different. If you have any questions, please email me, and we'll discuss. And again, my website is below. You need to pre-book. And you need to let me know, I will let you know when you can start. Usually takes like a week or so. I have like 25 clients at a time. And usually it's a good idea to be prepared to start right away. And this is how I know you're serious. Otherwise, somebody may take your spot and then you're going to have to wait longer. Okay, so I was going to wrap up for the day. And then this is a second audio that I'm recording for my channel today, which is a record in all time of the history of my channel. But I was sitting after my phone calls and sessions, and I was like looking at my notes, and I'm like, you know what, I better record this right now because I'm really, really inspired. So I'm going to record this right now. So the subject of tonight and this midnight conversation is the subject is your SP has no choice but to come back. Okay, I was actually going to record this earlier, but a client of mine asked me to elaborate why people don't manifest. So I recorded that for that client in particular, and also for other people who have been asking me to record something similar. So I want to discuss this because, a lot of you have these SP situations. And what a lot of you are missing, truly missing from the picture, okay, are two key elements. This is how I see it. A lot of you don't have the self-esteem right now that you ought to have, which will put you automatically in a position of creating different things, period, in your world, in your universe. SP is the least of your fucking worries, but the self-esteem with which you create the comeback of your SP, if that's what, you're really interested in, is a completely different self-esteem or the lecture of that you have now, which you have right now. Okay, so you're going to have to become a completely different person. And I talk about this ad nauseum in every single one of my audios. One way or the other, I mention it's your beliefs, it's your self-esteem, it's your beliefs, it's your self-esteem. So no manifestation technique under the sun will give you anything close to becoming a new person. I don't care what kind of flying fog technique it is. I don't care what kind of guru comes on and says, this is the technique. Listen up, everybody. Bullshit. Unless it has to do with your self-esteem and with the way that you view yourself and the way you present yourself in the world. And I don't just mean clothing and how you coif your hair. No. I really mean energetically. Energetically, just right here, right now. You can, in bed, having not brushed your teeth, having not gone to work or done anything, not even exited your house or apartment, you can change your energy and start becoming this person who your SP is gaga over. True story. Now, self-esteem, and I'm going to get to my second point. I realize I haven't mentioned the second point, but for those of you taking notes, which I know are a lot, you'll hear it in just a bit. Self-esteem doesn't just mean, look how great I am. Self-esteem means I validate myself. My faults and all of me, just all of me. And some of you, blame yourself for the angry shit you did or said and this and that and the other, for the shortcomings that you may or may not have, the mistakes you made, the things you said, the things you did, the ba-ba-boo, ba-boo, ba-boo. And you know what? It's all bullshit. Because you shouldn't really blame yourself for anything. It's a human experience. The anger is a human experience. Mistakes are human experience. First of all, I don't really believe in mistakes at all, because it's all learning. It's part of the learning. How on earth are you going to fucking learn if you don't make mistakes? So when you accept yourself, in other words, when you accept yourself fully, your anger, your resentment that you feel right now or may feel, the money that you're making, I don't know, everything that you think, the not perfect body that you are, if that's how you perceive yourself, whatever the fuck is happening in your life, if you just accept yourself and say, I'm all right, this is all right, nothing has gone wrong with me, I'm not wrong, I'm perfect just the way I am. Now, am I going to manifest something better? Yes. If I want to become slimmer, richer, if I want my SP back, if I want to get a hold of my emotions a little bit better, all right, I can do that. But at this moment in time, nothing has gone wrong and everything is fucking perfect. And I am perfect too. All right, so this moment in time, right here, right now, ready class, I am perfect. After me. I am perfect. Everything is perfect right now. Nothing really has gone wrong. I have learned so much. I'm on my way to such great things. This is a perfect moment in time. When you really are able to say it with every fiber of your being, you are on your way to fucking great things, because you can't really be upset in the moment and change the moment. You can't be upset at the circumstances and change the circumstances. It doesn't fucking exist. You're going to produce more upsetting circumstances for yourself and between your SP and la la la. If you can really make peace with where you are and be like, this is all right. If nothing had to change for the rest of my life, this is okay. Now, of course, it will change. I'm not saying it won't. So stop, if anybody's having a panic attack right this moment in time, don't worry, it will change. What I'm saying, though, is if you can formulate this feeling within your body that if nothing ever changed from here point on, I'm okay with this, you've got it made. And of course, the irony of things is that the things will start changing rapidly right after that. You cannot invalidate anything in creation. So if you're upset at the moment, at anything or anyone, you're invalidating creation. Now, it doesn't mean that you prefer that. It's not that. It's that you accept what you created, what you've experienced up until now, and that gives you the freedom to then switch realities to something better. So if it's a shitty version of your SP or shitty circumstance that you don't prefer, well, guess what? It's also part of creation because everything exists. That's it. And so if you can't accept that everything exists and you're invalidating a part of creation, you're not letting yourself go forward with something that you actually want to create. The second most important part, and get ready, I think this is going to be a long audio, to understand is when you decide how someone is, you deprive them of the possibility of change. Now, this can work both ways, and you can use it however you heard it just now, you can use it to your advantage or disadvantage. If you decide how someone is in a favorable way, and you say, yeah, yeah, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, they're extraordinary, you deprive them of the possibility of change. This is it. You've decided who they are. Okay? The disadvantage way of doing things is that if you say they're an asshole, they're unfaithful, they're a playboy, or whatever the fuck else, you deprive them of the possibility of change as well. In other words, the way you view things, it's the way that they are. The double slit experiment, if anybody's familiar with that, the observer changes the result. I'm not going to go into how it works, the double slit experiment. You're going to have to look it up. But essentially, they made an experiment where they fired some atoms, and when the observer was looking at the atoms, now I'm describing the experiment, the atoms behaved a different way. And so when they sealed the result into envelopes, the results actually changed because when they unsealed them, the result in the envelope changed. I don't know how, you're going to have to look it up and do your own research. But essentially, the observer changes the result. So if you're observing somebody or something as being bad, okay, let's just be a little bit like, I don't know, simplistic, I suppose, then that thing doesn't serve you. If you describe somebody as somebody who is wonderful, then that's your observation and you're creating that person to be so, okay? Just keep in mind, none of this is real, right? I keep talking about this on my channel over and over and over again. None of this is real. So you basically, if you're in like pain, suffering over your SP, they've done this, that, and the other, they've betrayed me, they went on and married somebody else, or all these problems and situations, this is your perception. This is your creation. This is your world. This is your 360 bubble, which is why in my coaching, I'm ever so fucking curious. How the fuck did you create this shit? This is why I ask you questions that have to do with your childhood and growing up, because early on, you absorb a lot of information. Up until age 7, your brain absorbs the information that is it's your brain is wide open. It doesn't discern, it doesn't say yay or nay. It just absorbs all information. So there's a lot that went into your mind that you didn't even have like the say so to even distinguish between what you want to believe and not to believe. So a lot of beliefs get programmed into your mind until you're 7 years old, and you don't even remember much of it. So it's very useful to talk about like what has occurred and what do you remember and what do you believe, because these things get reproduced. It's like copy and paste, copy and paste. People are on like a pattern that represents what they observed early on. So in other words, you're constructing this reality constantly. And it would be really tremendously useful if you understood how the fuck you're doing it, right? With your beliefs, there is that. But how are you doing it? What do you choose to believe about this person that you believed about your father, let's just say? What do you believe about men in general? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about working hard for money or not really working hard for money? What do you believe about yourself? All these things construct your reality, and what one person may perceive as an opportunity, you may see it as the lack of. And so when we're talking about things like SP and how to reconstruct this situation where you've been desperate, you were yearning for this person, and you were, waiting for them and this and that, and chances are some time has gone by. Well, you created this delay. You created the situation in the first place, like out of thin air. And I really mean it. Like from scratch. Your SP, his or her eye color, hair, color, the occupation, everything. It's a person in your reality that you created from scratch, like literally like a movie. And so if you want to reconstruct it and have them come back to you, you can do this with your mind. Now, your mind is controlled by beliefs. Again, we're going back to beliefs. And so if you can't believe that you can do it, first things first, well, then you need to adjust it. And then you need to start believing that this could happen. Then you need to talk and think in the way that, no, they know that they want me. We are one mind. They're thinking what I'm thinking. The tables have turned now. They realize that they've made a mistake. Even if they went on with a third party, 300 million third parties, okay, it still doesn't matter. It could turn all in your favor like literally overnight. If you change your mind, literally change your mind, change your belief system. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight, the changing of the belief system, but I'm just saying it could start happening overnight, that if your perception of these events changed and you stop being the victim and excuse me, start controlling your reality on purpose and start realizing you've had the remote control of your reality all along, you can start changing your reality. I mean, you can reverse roles with this person and say, well, now they're desperate for me and I'm not desperate for them at all. How you like that? You can construct any kind of version of the situation. You can make, the most playboy of men running around with different women to the most obsessively loyal husband. Okay? Like, listen, the success stories that you hear are real. But what it takes is that you need to start believing it. I can teach you how. But you need to start believing it on, with your mind. Your mind will create your reality. I cannot create your reality for you. I'm not fucking Neville Goddard who's going to be like, oh yeah, I heard her say this to me. I don't want it to be just one event for you to manifest one little shit here and there. I want you to really encompass what the fuck you're doing on this planet and how powerful you are. And I really want you to download the enormity of the power that you really have. And so changing the person from one radical behavior to another is easy. If you really allow yourself to think that it's easy, and if you really understand that it was all your creation in the first place, so you don't really need anybody's authorization or permission to start creating something completely radically different. All you need to do is the agreement with self. The only one you need to convince is you. And you can say, well, what about this person and that person and the other person? What about the third party? Who gives a fuck about third party? The third party, they're not invited to the party. Like, third party automatically says that, well, they're extra, they don't belong, so get rid of them already. It's not important. It's like, how weird would it be if you went to the restaurant and it's like 3 people sitting there, 2 women and 1 guy, or 2 guys and 1 girl. It's like, who's on the date? It's kind of like that shit. It's like, one of us has to go and it ain't me, so get the fuck out. One of us is extra here, darling. Can I call you a cab or a limousine? Whatever the fuck you please. You need to go home now. Pack your valises. I don't know, something. Whatever you start thinking, essentially, your mind is so powerful. The things that you allow yourself to think. And some people come into my coaching and they say, well, Anna, I can start thinking anything I want, but I can't believe it. Okay, well, there again, we go back to beliefs, and therein lies the problem for a lot of people. But the thing is, if you construct a reality diametrically opposed to what you're receiving now, and you believe it, it will happen just as well. Just as well that you created this SP running away from you, ghosting you, blocking you, being an asshole to you, being a womanizer, being a shed show, and this, that, and the other, the opposite can happen in the same exact way. I've seen it happen in my life. I've seen it happen in my clients' lives. It's like you can't compute with your human mind what the fuck just happened, but here it is. All right. And so I think the trick really is to allow yourself that something quote unquote impossible can happen like that. The idea is that, excuse me, the entire time, right? The entire time of your existence, you have an invisible telephone in your brain, all right? Let's just say, or like, I don't know, invisible internet, something. And you're communicating with people in your reality the entire time. So if you're communicating to them, you're an asshole, you're a womanizer, you left me, you don't care about me, that's what they're going to do. If all of a sudden you switch the script and you say, you're obsessed with me, you can't leave me alone, all of a sudden you dropped all your fucking third parties or the third party, and now I am you like suddenly like the lightning struck in your head, and you said to yourself, I'm the only one for you, and you're going to propose to me, you want children with me. That person is going to get that message. It's literally like that. And you can use it for anything. You can use it for your boss, you can use it for whoever, in your reality. It doesn't need to be like a lover or a friend or anybody like that, anybody at all. But the thing is, you have the invisible telephone in your brain the entire time. And so you can instruct them to behave in a certain way. It doesn't have to make sense. None of this makes sense anyway. And so the more playful you are about it in any situation at all, name me a situation and I'll tell you it doesn't make sense. Now, reason I'm coaching people is because they don't believe they can. And they struggle with their beliefs. And that's my job, to really point shit out to you in my coaching, which is why I come humble and come kind and come open to suggestions. From one moment to the next, you reside in a different reality, right? So you guys know this. You travel through billions of parallel realities every second, every millisecond, in fact. And it's been proven by scientists, not just a Bashar quote, by the way. It's been proven by scientists. And so don't you think from one moment to the next, you can choose an entirely different version of your SP who's completely nuts for you and who is like anything that happened in the past, it really truly doesn't matter to them, and they are so crazy for you that all you have to do is change something in your mind about them, and they click, right there go. Here they go, knocking on your door, sending you letters, sending you messages, being obsessed with you. All you had to do is change the perception. There's no outside force who's granting you the fucking wish. There's no God sitting there and like, yes, your wish has been granted or whatever, No, you're granting the wish to yourself. All you have to do is change the perception of how things are. And my favorite book by Neville Goddard is The Power of Awareness. Truly profound book. A little bit awkwardly worded, if I may. I would word it in a different way, but it gives you an insight to how powerful your awareness is. If you're aware of, meaning you're thinking, this person is thinking this way about me now, even if they've never behaved this way in a million times, in a million years before, that every time that we get together, they behave in a jerky way. Now, all of a sudden, you change the perception about them. And all of a sudden, they're the nicest person in the world. They're like worshiping you. And like, what has happened? Your perception has changed. The idea, though, really quick, is to make it normal and natural, right? So it cannot be far-fetched in your mind. It could be like, sure, this could happen. Yes. On some level, you have to allow yourself to suspend this disbelief, the doubt, the whatever creeps into your mind, and be like, sure, this can happen. This can happen. Now, the only thing that can override your stupid disbelief is your desire. If your desire is strong enough, if you're stubborn like a motherfucking donkey, then it could like eventually it can override it. But if you're in this playful zone of like, yeah, this can happen, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? Like, oh my God, now we switch roles, my SP is running after me and he's behaving or she's behaving like I used to. Oh my God, this is so fun. Like, look at them, like writing me like 5 million texts a day, sending me emails, sending me roses, sending me love letters, handwritten love letters. Can't get enough of me, saying all the words I ever scripted for them to say. Parenthesis here. Scripting works. Guys, can I parenthesis here big fucking time. Scripting, I swear by it. You guys know this. Scripting is spooky. Scripting is spooky. That's all I have to say. I mean, of course, you have to believe in it. You have to believe it, anything for it to come true. But scripting is fucking spooky. I've experienced it to such a degree where I can't really say it on my channel because, I mean, there's a certain privacy that I have to keep. But you've heard enough of my examples where I manifested my life today. Everything I manifested in my life came from scripting. And I learned it early on when I was like around 12. I started writing stories and I noticed that things that I write keep coming true. That's how I taught myself scripting. And of course, I didn't know anything about Neville Goddard back then and this and that. But basically, scripting is spooky. It will spook you. So yeah, investigate that. Or get into my coaching and I'll teach you how. I want to go back to this point really quick. You can construct it any way you please, right? So you don't have to worry about how it will make sense. All you have to do is construct it out of the pieces of mosaic. I see it like the pieces of mosaic, right? So you take the most pleasant parts of your SP or the most believable parts and you exaggerate them. And then you add on stuff that you really want for them to have. And you construct a new person. It's like a conglomerate of, amalgamation rather, of things that you really want this person to be. Now, parenthesis here, this person was already constructed out of situations that you constructed him or her with. Wouldn't you rather it be on purpose this time around and really pay attention to what you're putting into this person? And so scripting is very powerful this way because then you get to write down what you want them to act like, what you want them to say, how you want them to be. And it has to make sense to you because on some level, it has to resonate with you emotionally. If you don't believe it completely, it has to resonate with you emotionally. It has to evoke an emotion out of you like, oh my God, if this came true, I would be thrilled. It cannot be that, you're looking at the page and like, well, yeah, right, this never will come true. No, it cannot be that. It has to be like, wow, yeah, this and that and this and that. This is such a wonderful person. I'm in love with this person. Where is this fucking person? I want to kiss them right now. That's how it has to really feel for you. And believe me when I tell you this version of a person exists. There's no version of this person that you can come up with that doesn't exist already. So you might as well dream the hardest, okay? All it takes is your decision to bring this new version of this person. All it takes is your decision. I've decided this is what I want. This is the version of this person. Excuse me. I've decided that it's not only probable, but completely possible that this version will walk into my life, but in a very short period of time. Let it be easy. Let it be playful. Don't make a chore out of it. Don't make it like, I have to have it or I'll die. No. It has to be that it's so playful that it's fun. It's just fun to receive this manifestation. It has to be easy. It has to be miraculous. It has to be beautiful and astonishing and surprising and out of this world. It's the energy that you transmit out there into the world that brings this person in, which is why it's so important to go through your beliefs and the past experiences so that you cleanse the palette in order to create like something completely different that's worth your time. Not everything is worth your time. Okay, the shit you're living now is not worth your time. And so my teaching, my school of thought, if you will, is that you need to get rid of the garbage in the living room so that you can create a lovely ambience. And this is how you do it. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.